Hey guys, welcome to Pocket Japan and welcome to another grammar lesson. Now this lesson is dedicated to some more particles, so we're back to particles. The last lesson covered the particle wo, and it explained how to use the particle and how to add direct objects to your sentence. So now you can say stuff like, I see a building, or I hit my brother, for example. The building and the brother being the direct object. Now the next logical step to learning Japanese would be expressing places, as in where you are or where you are doing something, like reading a book. For expressing where you are, you must either use the particle ni or the particle de, depending on what you want to say. The difference between the two is quite easy, so let's just jump into it. First off, the particle ni. When you want to specify just where something is or where someone is situated and nothing more, then you can use the particle ni. As with most particles, you put the particle ni right behind the place name, just like the particle o comes right behind the direct object, or the particle ga comes right behind the subject. The person or the thing that is somewhere in a certain location is stationary and is not implied to be doing anything of significance. Usually this just boils down to sentences like, Tanaka is in the school. Tanaka-san ga gakkou ni iru. Or, the wallet is in my pocket. Saifu ga poketo no naka ni aru. John lives in Kobe. John-san wa Kobe ni sunde-iru. As you can see, the places, in this case, the school, the pocket, or Kobe, these places are directly followed by the particle ni, indicating where Tanaka or where the wallet is, for example. Did you also catch the different verbs used at the end of both sentences, the first two sentences? Well, basically, when a living thing, like a human or an animal, is the subject, like Tanaka in this case, you have to use the verb iru, which basically means to exist or to be somewhere. And for inanimate objects, like the wallet, for instance, cannot go with the verb iru, but you have to use the verb aru instead, which means to exist. Iru, for living things, is a ru verb, meaning that the polite must form is imas, whereas aru is just a regular u verb following the rules as well, and the must form is thus arimas. Besides iru and aru, you can also use other stationary verbs like to live, for example, such as the third sentence, John lives in Kobe. Also, one last thing, you should try to use ga for indicating the subject of the sentence instead of wa. It's a rule you need to remember with the verbs iru and aru. You tend to have to use the particle ga instead of wa. There's not much logic behind it to explain. Besides the main function of ni being indicating where something or someone is, you can also use ni to indicate the direction of motion. Some examples will clarify. I am going to Paris next year. Dainen wa Pari ni ikimasu. Dainen wa means next year. Pari is the city of Paris. Ni is the particle that we're learning right now, and it means the direction of motion, or the location you're going to. And then ikimasu is just the must form of the verb iku, which means to go. The second sentence would be, you gave an apple to the teacher. Anata wa sensei ni ringo o ageta. Anata is the subject, and it's you. Sensei means teacher, sensei. Ni is the direction where something is being given to, in this case the apple. Ringo means apple, and o is the direct object marker, which we saw in the last grammar lesson. And ageta is just the past tense, the ta form of the verb ageru, which means to give. It's quite easy, really. So as you can see, there can be two main uses to the particle ni when indicating a location. So it either indicates where something is situated, so just being stationary, or it can also mean where something is going to or where something is being given to, the direction of motion, so to speak. Ni has a lot of other functions as well, some more important than others, but for now, just remember that its function is indicating a place either where something is, or a place where something is going to, or being given to, or, the general direction of motion. Now onwards to the particle de. The particle de, on the other hand, is a little different from the particle ni that we just saw. Although it indicates a location as well, it actually signifies a location where an action is being done. So where you say, I am in the library, you would use the particle ni, like just now, toshokan ni imasu. But when you want to say, I read a book at the library, you have to use de behind the location, being the library in this case. So you would have to make a sentence like, toshokan de hon o yomimashita. Do you see the difference? There's not much more to explain here, just that you always use ni for stationary verbs like to be in Japan or to live in a certain location. These verbs are like iru or aru. And for a location where you're actively doing something, like talking to someone or reading a book or watching television, then you use the particle de behind the location. So some more examples with the particle de would be, my big sister works at Nintendo. 姉は Nintendo で働いている. Ane means big sister. Wa is just the topic marker. Nintendo is the name of the company. De is where she is working, so just the location marker that we're seeing right now. And hataraiteiru is the teiru form of the verb hataraku, which means to work. Another example sentence would be, I was drinking coffee on the train. 電車でコーヒーを飲んでいた. Densha means the train. De means in the train. Kohi means coffee. It's a katakana word, comes from the English word, I think. O is the particle that we saw last lesson. It indicates the direct object, so what you're drinking in this case. And nondeita is the teiru form in the past tense of the verb nomu, which means to drink. So if you put all these puzzle pieces together, you get 電車でコーヒーを飲んでいた. I was drinking coffee on the train. Now I hope this is all clear. Feel free to ask any questions. The particle ni and the particle de have a variety of uses and functions, but I will explain these later in upcoming bite-sized videos like this. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and if you really want to help me out, then consider sharing the video maybe. The more traffic I get to my channel, the more motivated I am to make videos at a rapid pace. But still, I'm enjoying making these nonetheless. Thank you very much for watching. Again, if you know anyone who's studying Japanese, or if you're studying Japanese in a classroom, evening classes, whatever, then maybe it would be cool to, share it around to your classmates or whatever, if you feel like it could help them as well. Okay, enough begging for now. Thank you very much for watching, and see you guys around in the next lesson of mine. Pocket Japan is out.